So I'm asking you, the ladies, why do you think women are so angry in the dating scene?
Well, hello, first of all. Thank you for
Hi, how are
accepting my
you?
request. Um, I think women are angry because women don't like to be told the truth.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Go ahead. I'm listening.
so
I'm
yeah,
just
so
listening. Just,
yeah, so I think women are angry at themselves at sometimes with maybe the decisions they made in their lives, and they project that on. Um,
okay.
for
It might be your Bluetooth.
example,
It might be your
when
Bluetooth. It might be your headset. It might be your headset.
it might be okay, hold on.
Mm.
Is
And
that better?
Instagram is a little bit more. Yeah, let's try that. Go ahead. So you think
Okay.
women might be
So
angry
yes,
at some of the choices they made and may be projecting? Go ahead.
yes, and this is just my personal opinion. I don't want nobody flooding my DMs and sending me any threats and stuff. But yeah, so I think women are angry because of sometimes the decisions they made in their lives, um, lack of accountability,
Okay.
and yeah, and they don't want to be told the truth. Like we like to be dealt with care,
Okay.
and
So I think there's some truth to those things. So what is it for modern men to do in that situation who are coming to the women like this who are strangers? If they're upset with decisions they made in their lives, nothing they can do about that. Nothing guys can do about it. How are men supposed to approach you? How are men supposed to approach women like this?
well, I'm not a man, but um I'm gonna try to answer that in a woman's perspective.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I think just you gauge it. Like if you see, I think as adults we've dated enough people, we've had enough experience to know when you're dating someone, there's red flags, there's things that people do where you are able to gauge
Mm-hmm.
certain behaviors and see if I'm able to accept this or not, and then you move on, or you have a discussion with the person and you carry on. We all have made mistakes.
Well, of course, that's the human condition. So, a couple of things. One that would be very difficult for most men to do to gauge every woman. It's almost like we got to handle you with like kid gloves. And I'm gonna just speak for the men. You ladies don't handle us that way. Y'all handle us roughly.
Okay.
Nuclear rejection came from women to men, not men to women.
Mhm.
So when most men hear that they need to treat modern women with
Mhm.
care and sensitivity, when
Mhm.
they themselves have been treated harshly and rudely,
Mhm.
that's a hard pill to swallow. Because the guys are
Well, when
saying,
I
I didn't do, because guys are saying, I didn't do nothing to you.
no, yeah, I understand, and I'm not saying to put the ownership on just the men,
Mm-hmm.
but you pose the question. The
And we're
question
just
was
talking.
posed,
We're just talking. Yeah, we're just talking.
yeah, how men should handle it. So if we're talking about how men should handle it, where you have a woman who's angry, and I think if we're talking about the anger that we all know, where there,
Mm-hmm.
there's the woman that's aggressive and she's
Mm-hmm.
like jumping down your throat because you say something that she doesn't agree with. um you just, okay, this is not the person for you, and you tell them like, listen, I don't think it's going where I thought it would, and then you move on from the
What
situation.
what what about this? What about this? What if men just started approaching women like this? Hey ma, what's the name of your therapist? I mean seriously. Because women ask, hey, where do you work? Where do you live? What if men just start out the rip most assuming that you need to be handled with care, ask, what's the name of your therapist? And this is what it does to men. If they say, what therapist? I don't have a therapist. What's wrong with you? Oh, if you get angry that I ask you that, no need to answer the question. If you say my therapist's name is Miss Johnson, good, that means you're dealing with the problem.
Well, I think asking a woman that, asking anybody that, it can be a sense of like there's something wrong with the person from jump.
Yeah.
Because we associate
Yeah.
someone going to therapy that there's something wrong with you.
But if you're a healthy person, you don't worry about it. You don't think that way.
No, you don't think that way, right? But just that's not how conversations would usually go. So
Well, the way
anybody would be
conversations would
offensive.
usually go is men would have to kiss women's butt and try to tap dance around your feelings and emotions that they didn't have nothing to do with. And I accept it because that's what you say. Women don't like to be told what to do, and we like to be told in a certain way. That means men who are outside of you, who ain't had nothing to do with you, got to treat you tenderly, and that ain't gonna fly on me because these men got to live their own life. So if a man could walk up to you off the rip and realize whether or not you're the kind of woman they need to talk to or step from, like you were saying, asking about therapy, it'll be no different than if a woman asked a man in the first 5 minutes, "Where you work at?" "Oh, I don't have a job." She leaves, right? Same thing. See, men don't have no problem being questioned because if we got a job, we'll tell you. If we don't have a job, then the beatbox starts.
Okay.
But see, what you're hearing is accountability being put directly onto the women off the bat. And honestly, most women probably aren't going to have a therapist, have not risen to the level of self-accountability where they need to look in. And that's something that my brothers need to know off the rip so they don't waste their time.
Well, you saying that that's assuming that somebody or a woman who goes to therapy, she's getting something out of it and it's productive, right?
No. The presumption that you're self-aware enough to know you got problems and you're doing something about it. I didn't ask how therapy's going or if
you're not talking about the nuances. We're not talking about
no, the fact that I'm okay, it's no different than say, hey dude, where you work at? You know you need money, so you need a job. It's no different than you ask somebody who's overweight and you say, hey, what gym you work out and who's your personal trainer? And if they tell you I work out at 24-hour fitness and Robert Thompson's my personal trainer, you at least say you take some accountability. If they say, what's a gym and what's a personal trainer, you keep on moving.
Okay.
See, I'm with you. I'm with you that women want to be handled a certain way. And what I'm saying is men don't want to waste time and be trying to do all that stuff with women that they ain't done nothing to. So in my opinion, a person that's healthy would be like, oh, I'm in a good place. I'll tell you about my therapist. No big deal. Because it's no big deal because I made some progress. And I'll ask you about your therapist. That means you probably have one too. That we're both kind of healthy-minded people. The only ones that get upset will be people that ain't doing that.
That can be said. That's something that could be put on the table.
It's just not. I said it's an option. See, what I'm trying to do is give an option that's fair for both sides. Because the options you gave, honestly, ain't fair for men. Men got to waste a lot of time there.
As a man who, service men in the sense of you're in this business where those are your clientele, what would you tell a man how to deal with an angry woman? What would you say? Don't. No, but even before you even because that's where my objective is. You just don't deal with her. You find a way to communicate like this is not what I want and you move on. I tell my guys that, and I tell the women I deal with also, the world does not owe you understanding and your problems are your own. You should be expected to be addressing the issues that you know exist. And if you're dealing with an adult that doesn't even know they have issues, you need to move on. It's one thing to know you have issues and you're doing something about it. It's another thing to have them and not doing anything about it. You and I don't have time for somebody to get self-aware to start fixing their problem. Our time is ticking. See, I'm about putting accountability back on the individuals who are out here in the dating market and realizing that you're a product and you're trying to get somebody to buy you and looking to make a good deal. A good deal is when you feel like you're getting the value for your money. A bad deal is when you feel like you got ripped off. Okay.
And men don't want to get ripped off, and neither do women. So starting out, I presume that if you're black in this country, we all need therapy. That's what I've said that for years.
We do. We all do need therapy, but because I'm very careful with that, because in today's society with social media,
Mm-hmm.
going to therapy now is kind of like a fad, right? It's like trendy. So people are going to therapy, but not really, it's not productive, right? You're not being honest, because just because you are going to therapy does not assume that the person is going to.
But due respect, that's step two. That's step
Excuse
two.
me?
That's step two. What
Mhm.
percentage of people in the black community would you say are going to therapy actively right now?
Probably 3%.
So I'd rather deal with what the 97% are doing versus the 3%. 97% ain't even worried about no therapy. So if
Because
you part of,
I know personally people who's been to therapy, and I wouldn't be able to tell if the person is going to therapy actively.
but I focus on the majority, not the minority, because to me that's a 10. That's a if 3%. That means 97 out of 100 ain't. The 3%, the 3 out of 100, okay. Then we determine how good the therapy is, and that's fine. You got more of a chance of running into somebody who's got real issues over here. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you?
Why do you think
So
women
let
are
me ask you. No. What do you think? What would you say that modern women owe men of the society?
What do we owe them?
Yeah, because I started a conversation last week on my YouTube channel, basically saying that removing reproduction, men don't need women to survive because we already run the infrastructure. We will survive to the end of our days with pretty much no issues as far as survival. Women, on the other hand, need men because we run the infrastructure, the power plants and all that other stuff. So many women today who are single, you have jobs and you can make money, but you're not doing the job to keep the society running. What responsibility or what admiration or what respect do women owe to the men of the society who keep the world running so you can have a life?
I don't think, I'm going to answer your question. I don't think anybody owes anybody anything.
That's a problem. That's a problem because see, let me explain why it's a problem. Back in the day, before we were industrialized nations, when we lived in towns, we knew we owed each other because we needed each other. Far too many women today don't feel like anybody owes anybody anything because far too many women believe you are really independent and can do this on your own. And if you watch my show last week, you would hear that most women don't even know where water comes from.
Oh yeah, because the lady said that she would go to the ocean and get water.
Right. So, are you single?
I'm not married.
Okay. So my point is, if there's a fire, you call in the fire department. Those are men. You need a police emergency. Those are men. Mm-hmm. Men built your building, built your car, built the roads. Mm-hmm. You don't think the people who are living in the world that men built owe the men that built them? The men built your house. You don't think you owe them something? I'm truly fascinated by this concept.
No, I was going to answer your question. I just wanted to put it out there, right? But yes, I do. I think we in society, we owe each other something, right? Not just women owing men. I think women, yes, we have an obligation to each other. Fix your face. We have an obligation to each other. Now, to answer your question, what do women owe men? Mm-hmm. We owe them to continue whatever it is that they need to do. We owe them to support them so they can go and do what it is that they need to do, right? Okay.
I don't know what that means. See.
It's nothing in particular, though.
Yeah, you do.
Like,
let me explain to you. Let me explain why this. First, when I said, do you owe anything? And when I hear a woman say we owe each other, that's just another equality argument. That's just another
No,
reason.
I'm not.
No,
Yeah,
let me
I don't
explain. Let
want
me
it
explain.
to.
Let me explain.
Okay, go
Because
ahead.
it's basically saying, I need you, you need me. I owe you, you owe me. And the numbers, no, ma'am. And let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
This country has a military, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we had a world war and
Mm-hmm.
we had people trying to come invade our country and kill us,
Mm-hmm.
who would defend you?
A man.
You would owe him something for putting his life on the line to save yours and to
But I
save the
answered.
society.
I answered that though. I
But
answered
but
that.
but
I
but
said
but my,
women owe
my
men
okay.
whatever it is that they need to go out there and do what they have to do.
You know what you can do? Go study World War II France. Go study what the World War II France and watch what the women of France, how they responded to the Allied forces when they came and liberated France. Because their men quit. Those women were having sex with soldiers, cooking for soldiers. I love you, America GI. Women today, honestly, your answer is, I don't really owe you nothing except
No,
to
that's
just be.
not what my answer. I want you to no, that's not what my answer is. So I answered the question in a sense of like in its entirety, right? So whether no matter what situation is, it's gonna apply to that situation. So my answer was to your question. A woman owes a man whatever that man needs to go out into that world to be productive. I
Okay,
don't have one
is that
straight
her man?
answer.
Hold on, but is that her boyfriend or her husband? I'm talking about.
No.
I'm
That's
talking about just. I'm
anybody.
just okay. So, do you think that modern women in this? Do you think? Okay, let's use the black community. In the black community, since they're black, do you think black women even give black men basic respect?
No.
Then, if we're not getting basic respect, we're damn sure not getting admiration. So, just from a basic human respect standpoint, we're not getting that. So, anything that's built or done to keep the world and stuff, that's my ultimate point. Men aren't even getting baseline respect from women of the society.
Now, where do you feel like that breakdown came from? We started it as women, like
Well, yeah. Well, let me answer. I think it started it started in second wave feminism, but in the black community, it happened around 1965 with the Great Society and ERA and the women's movement. Black women didn't have problems with black men that white women were having with their men. Prior to 1965, we had communities, churches, neighborhoods, HBCUs, schools. We knew we needed one another. After that is when it all started falling apart. Now, it started to do that across other races, but other races have more of a patriarchy and their own economy to keep the women kind of more dependent. When as soon as black women's financial future was separated from black men, i.e. government, that's when all bets are off. So, and this is why so many of these black women, I think, feel unprotected or say, we need protection, we need this, we need that. Well, that's a response from the men not being respected. Men aren't going to go rush to protect something that doesn't even respect them.
So, can we say we're arguing what came first, the chicken or the egg, or you're just automatically saying women?
No, it came first. No, it's you guys came first. You did it. Women did it.
We approached the disrespect first.
Yeah, because in the 60s, read the Moynihan report and read Moynihan Scissors. Women chose the government over their man.
So, and I hear you. So are you saying it's us as black women, the responsibility to change the narrative?
Yeah, because we never left the table. I said this on my YouTube channel. If a war is over, the gender war is over, the war between men and women are over, two warring sides, the war is over. They come sit down and do what? They have a peace treaty, right? They have peace talks.
Okay.
It's the losers who go to the winners and hammer out a deal. the winners don't travel to the losers' territory and give them anything. You can obviously see women lost the gender war. 80% of children being born out of wedlock. Mm-hmm. 1 in 4 black women are married in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loss. So, regardless,
so you think to gain some type of power back, we started disrespecting our men.
Well, I don't know if that was the initial thought. I mean, I will say that I don't believe that in mass black women thought, I'll just take money and kick men out of the house. I do think there was some short-sightedness of long-term effects, because even the greater society was surprised at how black women responded when they were given government aid. That's Monahan scissors. They were like, they expected when the benefits stopped that the women would start to rely more on their men. No, how women actually addressed it was to have more kids to get more benefits. But we can't go back to 1965. We're in 2021. Corona just happened.
So what do we do now?
Well, what are y'all going
to do? I'm understanding, we have all these angry black women. We have these men who never left the table. I'm just trying to like wrap up, right?
Well, so, yeah, I'll tell you what we do.
We have all these black men who are just waiting to love on us, and we're angry. What is it now as black women? What do we do? Because I'm curious.
Well, first of all, you admit you lost. You admit you were wrong, and come back with some humility. Because we all you got. White men ain't sitting there waiting to marry you. Hispanic men ain't sitting there waiting to marry you. Middle Eastern men and Asian men are not ready to sit there and marry you. Either you marry us, you marry each other, or you buy a dog and die alone. Those are the 3 options. Because
that's not because now you see women freezing their eggs and they're talking about they're gonna have their kids on their own. So, and that's still dying alone. Okay. Yeah. If you cannot, but you still have to have a sperm donor. And see the fact you still need the man.
But see, and the fact, and I thank you for bringing that point up. The fact that you have women that are that belligerent, that are be willing to go to those lengths instead of getting some therapy, sitting their hot pants down and trying to figure out how to work themselves out with a man. That says something as far as I'm concerned. No other group of women has fought to be apart from their man like black women have. And black men ain't done nothing to y'all. We have never been a patriarchy. That color purple stuff was a fiction. Black men have never had that kind of power over you guys.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate, although we know the devil don't need an advocate, right? Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe, and I do agree with you. I personally have my personal opinions with, women who do decide to go that route. But do you think it's because there are some women that saw it happen and it becomes now a possibility that, oh, maybe I can raise a child on my own because my mother raised me and my siblings and we turned out okay, or I've seen my aunts and other people
let me answer the question.
This is not my beliefs, but
I know I get it, but let me answer the question. Yeah. How old are you?
33.
33. All right. 20 years ago, the black community was a better place or a worse place than it is today. Was it a better place or a worse place when you were 13? 20 years ago.
20 years ago when I was 13, I think it was better, maybe because I was maybe sheltered and naive.
Okay, I know, because it was better. Yeah. And 20 years before that, it was even better.
Okay.
Right now in 2021, we have plus 80% out of wedlock childbirth rate. Black boys are reading at a 4th grade level.
Yes.
So there's a difference between maintaining a child and raising a child. Is the black community today, 2021, better off than it was in 1950? Jim Crow segregation and all the other stuff, which was better.
No, I have strong beliefs in that. I feel like we should have kept it in a sense of keeping it black.
So to say that the women feel like that, well, I saw my mother do it, yeah, but it's not successful. Just because you're alive doesn't mean you're successful.
Well, but the only reason I say that is because there's some people that can argue. There are doctors, lawyers, engineers that came from single mothers. So there are some people that argue those points.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you have people.
And this is that 3% versus the 97%.
Okay.
That's what that is. That's the 3% looking for the exception, and the exception only goes to prove the rule. I judge it based on one thing. Any society is built around the strength of its men. Where are black boys at right now?
Most of them are incarcerated.
The bottom. They're at the bottom. Academically, they're dropping out at alarming rates, and that's the next.
I work in the school district.
So that's the next group of black men. How do you build a community with a bunch of people reading at the 4th grade level and dropouts? What has to happen is black women need to realize you cannot do it alone. Every other race of women realizes they need their men. Need them. Not optional. You need them. And that's where the ego and the humility and all that needs to come back. And that's what happens when someone loses a war. Because this side over here and this side over here, they were fighting. At one time, either side thought they could win, but there's a time when something happened and one side realized they were losing.
Well, that's also because women, like you said, women are progressing. You know, the income gap, in a sense where there's more opportunity for women. Women are graduating at a high level. Women are graduating.
That's a misnomer. No. Science, engineering, technology. Hold on, ma'am. I have to correct this all the time, and I'll do it here. Science, engineering, technology, and math, the things that run a society, women are not. They're not growing in these fields. Women are graduating in humanities and things like that. They're not growing in the things that actually make money. The wage gap is a myth. Black men, women and men make the same amount of money. Actually, women make more money with the same income and the same job title when it's adjusted for the amount of actual hours worked. See, there's a lot of propaganda that floats around in the black community, but at the end of it all, when that pandemic hit, everybody else was hunkered down with their family. And I saw many black women out there going home, and it was just them and their dog. And that's the reality. Every other group, women can swim across the Rio Grande with a man from Mexico, and he can sell cans and pick up trash and be a day laborer, but that man still gets respect in his house. Until black women submit, become humble, respectful to their men that they need, how do you expect to have a community? You cannot have it with a bunch of mother-led households and there are no men. You raise the very men that women raise the very men that they end up
hate.
So at what point, my question to you is, you're 33 years old, and even though this may not sound good, at what point do women, sisters stop digging and start realizing that, you know what? It is time for us to stop this fight and try to make peace with black men.
I mean, listen, we can have this conversation. I can get it. I seen that you turn off the comments. One person can get it, 2 women can get it, 3 women, but it's the majority in a sense, right? Like the majority, it has to be a consensus where like all women come together and say, okay,
that's where I differ. So I tell no. I'm not trying to get the women. All you need is 10% for a tipping point. What really needs to happen is women like yourself saying, you know what? The best way to show other women or to get women to get on board is to you go find you a man, husband, go make some black babies and go build a black community with the rest of the black folks. And then the single folks and sit over here and do what they want to.
But those women are not.
What does it say in the airport? What does it say when you're in the airplane? The
when you see
mask drops
something
down. You got to put it over your face first.
oh, and save yourself before you save someone else.
Yeah, women need to start saving themselves because it is your. When I talk to women, it's always y'all trying to. Well, what do we do with the other one? Another sister, save yourself.
No, that's fine. We can save ourselves, but the percentage of women that are screaming out, I got a good man, versus the one that is screaming, he ain't about nothing, is lower in a sense, right?
So the women are screaming. The women are okay.
The women that have the good men, the men that are doing something, that are taking care of the household, that are happy in a healthy relationship, they're not really out there boasting and screaming out their top of their lungs like, okay, I have this. Whereas you have
why
the women
not?
that,
but why? But why?
I don't know, because it's more appealing. It's more, listen, I'm on
What?
Clubhouse and it's every day it's a room about men this, men that.
So because
it's more appealing.
Hold on. I asked at the beginning, do you think the average black woman even gives black women respect? So when a black man is doing it right, he don't even get credit. But when he does it wrong, but when he does it wrong, we saw this in the 80s. All over talk show TV. This is why the problem is not on the men's side. 51% of black men are single and childless. 64% are in the middle class. The stats are in. Black folks, black men are not the issue. This is why black women have a really dysfunctional way of looking at the men, to even in your scenario to say, well, only 1 in 4 will get married. So if you're one of the 4 that has a man and he's doing the right thing, you should be walking around with a sign saying he's the shit, instead of he still ain't did this shit right. Because you got to be honest. When was the last time you went to a beauty shop and you saw a woman who's in a relationship singing the praises of her man?
Well, when that happens as a woman,
when was the last time you've seen that happen? That's a goddamn shame.
Well, let's consider it's COVID. So let's consider the last time I went to a beauty shop.
Even before COVID, that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame that black men.
It's COVID, okay? So even if I say 2019, it doesn't mean that we had a whole pandemic. So let's consider
we got a whole damn problem. The sisters need to find a way to start praising. See, that's why I say forget the men. Forget the men. What are you doing with your boys? And your boys don't get praised. Your boys aren't getting what they need. So if you're not going to do it for your boys, the men ain't got a shot. So this conversation, it's going to be seen by a lot of people.
I'm asking you.
This conversation is going to be seen by a lot of people. At the end of the day, black men want what every other group of men want: basic human respect.
No, definitely. But what I asked you is, I answered your initial question.
Yeah, I got it.
I asked. What you say?
I said I got it.
Yeah, but what I asked you is like, okay, let's just give an example. If I'm doing it and I'm in a group of females that my homegirls, we do that too, where we praise our men, then what? What about the ones who still don't do it?
I'll explain it to you. They won't be around you.
But then that's still not going to eliminate the notion of what you're saying.
No. If you're doing it and your homegirls are doing it, the ones that aren't doing it will leave because no one wants to hear them bitch and moan. In order to be down with the group, they're going to have to come and start praising their men. Because, ladies, when one woman starts complaining, another woman starts complaining. Save yourself. See, what's more likely is that one woman will start praising and then the rest of the group will shout you down to get you back on program. Now, we don't want to hear that shit.
I've seen that.
And that's so you gave me this utopian thing that don't happen, and that's what needs to happen. If your man's
it's not utopia, because it does happen.
It doesn't happen. No. If it happened even close to being enough, black men would not feel so dejected when dealing with relationships with sisters. You already said the black men don't even get basic respect, so we damn sure not getting praise.
No, but what I'm asking you is the point that you just made go to my point, right? Where there are group of women that are doing that, but the
Theoretically.
group of why is it
Theoretically.
theoretical? I just gave you an example.
Okay, but what you give me is a theoretical example. A theoretical group of
No,
women.
that's actually happening. I have a group of friends who, if we have the single ones, but then we have the ones that are in relationship. We're not bashing men. We're not sitting here talking about
Okay.
he ain't shit, we this, we
Okay.
that. Like,
So what's the problem?
the problem is the fact that the narrative is that there are black women that are angry. There are black women that don't
Well,
still
guess what?
respect
Well, you know what? You know who put that narrative out there in the first place?
black women.
Exactly. That's who needs to fix it. From the late 1970s through the 80s and 90s, black women sat up on Sally Jesse Raphael, Donahue, Oprah, Ricky Lake, talk shows, running down black men. Essence, Ebony, you got Waiting to Exhale, Color Purple.
But Waiting to Excel was
Hold on, let me
directed
finish,
by
man. Let me
Forest
finish.
Whitaker,
No, let
though.
me finish. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because Waiting to Exhale, there were also positive stories in that book that did not make it to the movie.
Oh, I didn't read the book.
I did.
I was 13.
I read it. That pissed me off because they put all the bullshit on the movie. Because it goes into a narrative, make you guys the victim queens you've been. You're a victim. It's the perpetual victims. And the narrative, the reason why it is so easy for the remainder of the world to run black men down is because they hear our own women tearing us down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only group of men that go into the world, and we have to deal with the perception of the world and the perception our women give to the world. So you want a better perception of your men? Change how you talk about us.
No, I totally agree with you. This is not a conversation.
I'm glad you agree, but when are you gonna? But when? And I'm glad you agree, but you say, how do you get the other women on the same page? You and your friends that are doing it, right? You got to shout them down. Every time. Here's another thing. Every time you see a black woman talking shit, running down a man, you go after her and shout her down like y'all come after men who are talking about women. Because y'all tend to let women ride. Because when a man is talking about a woman, you can count on black women to come in there and try to check you.
Definitely.
But when a black woman is talking about black men, y'all are just like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's foul. Y'all need to be shutting your sister down because she's talking about your son, your son and your brother.
Well, I'm not that. I'm not.
I didn't say you, ma'am. I didn't say you. I said that.
Okay.
You asked how you wanted. If the problem is with the narrative of how women talk about men, then if women started, imagine a world for a year. What are you looking at over there?
Oh, my laptop. What happened?
Because we're talking right here, and it's like,
and I'm paying attention. Go ahead.
Imagine a world for a year to where a woman came in and she just started complaining about her man, and she got checked by the women saying, "Girl, please be quiet. You got a good man. I don't want to hear that shit." Just imagine what a year that would do.
I've witnessed that. I witnessed.
Okay,
that.
I'm talking about just not witnessing. I mean, that was the standard. To where the only time we want to hear some real complaints is when something really happened, not just you in here fussing. Because every time a black woman fusses about a black man, people hear it and they take that into themselves, and that's how they see us. The world sees us through your eyes. You want to change it? Change how you talk about us.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree.
And the only ones that can check black women are black women.
We can't even do that.
Oh yeah, you can. You can check about ostracism. Yeah, oh yeah, you can. You don't have the strength to do it. You don't have the strength to do it, but you can. Because if it's
then we're labeled.
No. If it's 4 of y'all and Alice comes in there talking that shit, y'all say, Alice, you need to get up out of here with that. And Alice gone, we don't want to hear that. And if Alice realizes that she ain't getting invited back over to play spades because she come in here talking that shit, Alice will come in on a different tune. Women psychologically are wired to care about the good opinion of their other women. That is how women. That is part of your genetic makeup. That's part of your psychological makeup. Women respond to the pressure of other women.
Okay.
But
that goes back to what I'm saying is that goes back to my point that I made is that's in your group, right? Like that's in your group of females. But sometimes it ends there though. It ends there. We're speaking logically. If I have
we're speaking to the okay, but your group is a microcosm of your life. If it was just in there, it wouldn't be a global problem. The problem is it doesn't end there. It goes from your group to this group to that group to the world. Bottom line is what I'm saying is and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap it up. At the beginning, I said, what are men supposed to do about these women who are upset? And you basically said men should, here's an idea. Men could do this a certain way. And my response was no.
Say what I said.
No, I'm gonna say what I said.
No, I said
no. I'm gonna say what I said. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna wrap up. No, I'm gonna wrap up my program the way I'm gonna wrap it up.
No, I understand, but I don't want
okay, I'm gonna wrap up my program
the wrong way though.
The way I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you. Bottom line is, I said no. The responsibility is not upon the men to handle you with kid gloves. The responsibility is on the men to decide whether or not you got your head in the right place and leave you alone.
But that's what I said. That's why I asked you to repeat what I said.
I know what. All right. I mean, okay. See, I said what I said for a reason.
Okay.
Is this really a hill worth dying on?
No, definitely not.
All right. Well,
I just want to make sure my point. Okay.
Ma'am, I don't want to go back. Okay. Bottom line is this: the accountability is on women. It's not on men. It's not on men to talk to you a certain way. It's not on men to coddle your feelings. It's not on men to bring you up to a level. Men didn't do anything to men aren't the responsibility. It's not our responsibility. It's in a ditch right now. It's on you guys. It's on you guys, and it's for you to figure out how to fix it to come back to your men. Because right now you still have men to come back to. One thing that women in general, black women in particular, have never really contemplated is, what if black men aren't there for you to come back to? What if they just said, forget, I don't want to deal with y'all, period. Then where you gonna go? There's no one else. It's up to you guys to fix you guys. And present. I said this on my channel. Men are the consumers of the product that is a woman. If men aren't buying the product that is a woman, it's for women to make a better product. It's not for them to chastise the consumer and ask them why aren't you buying. But this has been good back and forth, though. I got to get to somebody else. Shout out to Brooklyn.
Later.
Bye-bye.